Welcome back, everybody. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts on relationships, especially in 2024. Um, I think relationships, man, they're really tough. Like dating nowadays is really tough. Like this whole passport bro movement. I think it's mainly due to the fact that women in the United States right now, like it's really difficult to find like a good woman. Um, I'm a millennial, so I'm kind of in that little range of that I remember like how things were before cell phones were invented and after cell phones were invented. And it's kind of funny how back when I was in high school, even a little before, um, it's crazy that how easy it was to find like a good girl, or a girl at least with manners, or a girl that's not completely like brainwashed from social media or anything like that. Because this was like MySpace days, so MySpace was popular, but it people definitely weren't on it all day like the way people are now, that they're on social media all day. Like MySpace after school, maybe you'd hop on a few hours, but there's not much to look at. There's no videos, no anything. So dating in those days, obviously I was young, but I still had my little girlfriends or whatever. um it was much more genuine, much more like less to worry about. But dating nowadays, like, it's tough because it kind of feels like you people have to extract something from you. That's kind of what it feels like. It doesn't feel like genuine, and it's tough. Like I said, the passport bro movement. Like I feel like people, like guys, are going overseas to find good women, and yeah, there's better women here, more manners, more traditional, but it's still tough. Like, girls are brainwashed out here by social media just as much as the United States. They just have a little bit more core values. But things are tough, man. Like, it's tough being in a relationship and it's tough being single. Because when you're in a relationship, I feel like with the short like attention span that social media gives you, I feel like people they're always looking at other people's lives. So they always feel like other people's lives might be more interesting, or might anything. Like they get kind of fooled into thinking that like other people's lives are more interesting than theirs. And that's not always the case, because it's actually funny. Like, you can see a couple walking down the street, right? And you look at them and you might think like, man, they're a good couple, like, like they're probably like very happy. But like, you never know the problems like someone could be having in a relationship. Like, you just never know. You never know. And man, it's tough out here. It's tough out here. Like, I have sympathy for the guys that can't even get a girl, like that, because that's kind of how things are now. That like, it's very hard for guys to even get a girl in the first place. And girls think that like every guy can get a girl, but that's just not the case. It's not the case. And dating just in general is just tough, man. Like, the feeling, especially like I've had recently a couple long distance relationships, and man, things are tough. They're really tough. you know but you kind of just have to keep it pushing. You have to try, because yeah, it's good being alone. You could be happy. You could be happy for a short period of time being alone. At the end of the day, like, you want to be able to find a woman that you feel like happy with and proud to be with, and have no worries. But it's tough. So with that being said, a couple relationship advice I would give, stuff that has always worked for me, is number one, like, you should never give somebody the the power to determine the outcome of your day, or the way you're going to feel a certain day. I'll give you an example. If you have a fight with your girlfriend, right? You're gonna have a shitty day. So if you allow that to happen, you're pretty much allowing your girlfriend to have the power over how your day goes. Like, you have to be able to find happiness yourself. You have to be able to, if you're having problems with your girl, be able to go out and do something that's gonna make you happy. Like, not just have your day determined by whatever happens in your relationship. Like, that's number one. Number two, you have to, and it's very important, it actually should be number one, but number two, you have to stay in the gym. You have to stay in the gym. I feel like a huge chunk of your problems can be solved by you having the discipline of staying in the gym, because sometimes in relationships you guys get too comfortable, and you pack on a couple pounds, and you start not to care as much about your looks, because you feel like you have a girl already and she's not gonna care. And for the most part, they don't care until it gets too bad. When you let yourself go too much, you'll start to see changes in your relationship. So staying in the gym is very, very, like, hugely important, because it also benefits you if you happen to get out of a relationship. Because when you get out of a relationship, you can pretty much hit the ground running, because you'll be in shape. You'll be ready to go to meet other people, or stay alone, but you'll always have the attraction of other people. If you look good and stay in shape and all that, like, you're never gonna have problems attracting somebody else. Number three is, you have to have a goal. You have to have, like, a vision for your life. Like, your relationship can't be your life. It can't be, like, the sole purpose of your life. You have to stay busy. Like, you can't just stay sitting around watching Netflix with your girl all day. Like a girl's gonna get bored. Like, the number one thing a girl can't be is bored with you, or you can't be predictable. Like, those are two relationship killers right there. Like, you have to be interesting. You have to be different. You can't just do the same thing every day and expect your relationship to be good. Like, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And, like, it kind of ties back to what I said, that in 2024, like, dating, it just feels like you have to be able to provide something for, like, a girl to even give you a chance. Like, the days, like, back in the day, it would almost feel like a girl would actually like you for you, because you can be broke, or you can not have anything, and, like, back in the day, like, it feels like a girl would just date you just because they like you. But in 2024, man, like, those days are over. Because it's funny, I actually had this one situation where this girl I was dealing with, she had like a boyfriend that she had just dumped because she met me. But the boyfriend, like, he was crazy over her. Like, he would do absolutely anything for her. Like, he would never tell her no. Like, anything she wanted, she would get. Like you can't be that way with a woman. If a woman never hears no, she's gonna get bored of you. Like, you're gonna become predictable, and it's like, girls don't like that. Like, you have to be able to say no. Just as much as you say yes, you have to be able to say no. And that's very important. And tip number 4 is, you have to know how to pick out red flags in a girl. The problem a lot of guys have is they'll see red flags and they just ignore it, only because the girl might be, like, semi-attractive, or because they've been single, let's say, for a couple years, and they don't have much opportunities, like, to be in a relationship, so they just accept red flags, or they just figure, like, nobody's perfect, so people are gonna have red flags. Yeah, that's true, but the more red flags you ignore, like, the more problems you're gonna have in the future. Like, you have to be able to, like, pick out red flags and either bring it up to the girl, or just cut the girl off completely and just just go about your day, like, and find someone else. Well, and not really find someone else, because I feel like you should never have the intention of like going looking for a relationship. Like like you should always just go about your business, go about your day, go about like what you have to do, go about your goal, and a relationship would come. Like, you'll come across a relationship along the way. If you go looking for it and that's just the sole purpose of your life, like, it's not gonna end well. I'm telling you, it's not gonna end well. Every relationship I've been in has never been me looking for a relationship. It's always been like me enjoying my life, going about my day, going about my travels, going about my work. And along the way I meet people, and you get attracted to somebody, and you know, and stuff happens. Everything happens organic. Like, you can't just settle for the first girl that gives you attention or anything like that. Like, it's not gonna go well. You can't just date anybody. Like, that's just a recipe for disaster. And the last little tip I would give is expand your horizons. Like, don't be limited to just your geographical location where you're at, like your city. Like, explore the world. Like, there's just so much different people, and like, you might find like your interest in a different country or anything. Like, don't just think that like you're limited to where you live. That's very important, because the more you travel and the more you just experience different cultures, the more you realize that like you might like something more than you like than other things. You get me? So just expand your horizons and just explore life. Trust me, like, this world is way too big for you to be just tied up to one place. Like, I can't imagine the people that have lived their whole life in the same city or in the same state. Like, I can't even imagine that. Like, I remember when I first started traveling, like when I caught the travel bug, like, I always knew in myself that I would never stay in my city where I was at. Like, I could never picture myself having just like a regular life, like finding a girl from your city and staying in your city and having a same old boring life. Like, as you guys know, I'm living in Colombia. Like, I would have never thought I would be living here. Like, but it's kind of like, when you want something, you have to just set a goal and just do anything you can to accomplish it. Like, when you have that discipline, the world opens up to you. The world really does open up to you. But I hope you like my advice. You know, I'm not an expert, not anything. I'm just telling you the way I go about things. So if you like the video, just like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for future videos. And I appreciate all of you, current subscribers, new subscribers. You know, I appreciate all of you, and I hope you all, I wish everybody like a fulfilling life.